Everyone. This is Miguel. I'm so happy that you would be connected here today. Of course, if you're listening on the Strategy Rewind podcast, thank you so much for joining on. Please consider subscribing. Please consider doing all those amazing things. I am streaming live right now on the Wisdom application. So if you haven't downloaded the Wisdom application, consider downloading it. Why? Why another social channel, you may ask? And it's because I think the Wisdom application is going to be massive this year. It removes all the fluff and filters of all the other social media platforms, and it allows you to ask questions, get direct answers, and not only that, but you can curate these answers. You can hit the like button, and like I'm doing now, you can go live. And not only that, but you can enter into a conversation. So right now we're going to enter into today's topic. If you're listening on the Wisdom app, feel free to jump into the conversation. It's more of a status report than anything else. I want to know how you're doing today. Today is day 40 of 365. Day 40 of 365. And let me tell you something. I'm excited for what I've seen, at least in the last 40 days of this year. I know it sounds surprising maybe for some of you that are listening right now to know that we're so far into the year. Like we're almost close into the first 100 days of the year. And I think that's phenomenal that we're almost into the first 100 days of the year. The question is, how are you with reference to your goals? Are you on track or are you falling behind? Do you feel like you have enough energy? Do you feel like you have enough momentum? Or are you feeling like it's not going to work out the way you anticipated? And if it's not going to work out the way you anticipated, what are you doing in order to pivot? And when we talk about being able to pivot, it's being able to see another way towards your goal. Right? There's a difference between being reactionary and pivoting. Because an individual who's reactionary doesn't quite know what they're going to do next. An individual who is just reacting based upon what's taking place, they have no sense of direction. They don't know what's going to happen next. They're just going with the motion. But an individual that has a game plan and has an idea of where they are going, they're able to pivot. So as we draw close to day 50 and eventually day 100 of this year, you may find yourself in a position where you'll have to pivot. And that's okay. But you will not be able to pivot if you do not have a plan. It's that simple. You cannot pivot if you don't have a plan. You first need a plan. You need a strategy. You need a target that you're aiming at. And so often we establish goals and we think, okay, I know exactly where I want to go. I know exactly where I want to be. I know who I want to be. Like we have this picture in our mind. And yet when we encounter difficulty, we're surprised. We are shocked that difficulty would show up, as though difficulty won't come our way. The truth is that just because you decided to change doesn't mean that the world doesn't keep spinning. The world is still spinning. Things are still moving. Things are still happening. And so it would be important, it would be vital that you would have a plan. And of course, not only do you want to have a plan, but you want to have it as detailed as possible. And I'm going to tell you why. And it's because you cannot stop a leak when rain is taking place. I think about this. Think about this. When it's sunny outside, if you have a leak in your roof, when it's sunny outside, you don't think about the roof. You only think about it when it's raining. But when it's raining, you can't do anything. You have to wait until the sun comes out, right? And there's an appropriate time to fix your roof. I know because several years ago, our roof was leaking. And I remember that it was leaking, and we and it was not happiness that I felt to know how much the price was going to be to get our roof fixed. But here's the thing. The contractor came, took a look, said, "This is what we're going to have to do. This is how much it's going to be. This is how long it's going to take." I said, "Great, let's get going." He said, "There's only one variable." "What's the variable?" He said, "There's going to be rain for the next couple of days. We can't do anything while it's raining." The leak didn't go away, but I couldn't do anything. He tried to put a patch to hold over while the next couple of days there was going to be rain, but it wasn't until it was sunny outside that they were able to come and do the work. Likewise, in our life, we don't think about the leaks. We don't think about the troubles. We don't think about the possibility of challenges when it's a sunny day. When it's a sunny day, everyone enjoys it. It's funny because, I live in upstate New York. I live in Rochester, New York, to be specific. And here, winter is kind of funny in that you could have a 50-day weather, and then the next day you have a 70-day weather. And then by the afternoon of that 70-day weather, it's 30 blizzard. And you're like, what's going on? And most individuals, it happens that they're so happy to see the sun in the middle of January or February that they go outside without any coats, without scarves. They just go outside. And of course, what happens is that in the afternoon, they're hit with this reality that, oh, it's still winter. The application to our lives is that you may determine that you want to establish a goal, but that doesn't mean that challenges won't come. So it would be beneficial that as you're thinking about where you want to go and what you want to do, it would be very beneficial for you to begin to also think about some challenges that may come up along the way as you're attempting to accomplish your goal. Like if you get that new job, what's something good that could happen? Well, if I get the new job, I'll also get a better pay. Great. What's something else that's going to happen? Well, the commute is longer, so I have to take that into consideration. Okay, so if the I have to wake up early, prep meals, go out early, come home. I might come home a little later than normal, so I'm going to have to think about what dinner's going to look like. Right? We have to have that type of thinking. Okay, so now that you know what it looks like if you take the position, is that worth it, or do you prefer being closer to home? Right? You think about these things. I think oftentimes what takes place is that we envision a goal, we have this opportunity that comes up, and we're so excited about the opportunity that we react. And again, there's a difference of reacting and pivoting. Pivoting implies that you have a plan. So you know that you're going forward, right? You know you're moving straight ahead, right? Let's say you have a compass and you say, okay, I'm going north. All of a sudden, out of nowhere or unbeknownst to you, a wind takes place, a tree falls, and is now in the middle of the path that you're taking towards north. And what do? You don't turn around. You got somewhere to be. So you figure out, okay, can I go over it? Can I go under it? Can I go around it? That's pivoting, right? The situation took place, but I got somewhere to be. I got to keep moving. I am determined. I'm focused on what I'm doing. And so you pivot, you maneuver to. People that react are people that are on their way heading towards north. A wind blows, knocks down a tree, it obstructs their path, and they say, oh my goodness, we can't do nothing. And they freak out. They may try to lift the tree up. It's like, you're not going to lift up that tree. That ain't going to happen. Right? They just think random. What if I try to chop it down? What if I try to break it down? What if I try to lift it up? What if I just wait? Maybe another wind will blow and it'll take away the tree. It's like, no, No, that's not going to happen. None of those things are going to happen. This is the difference between reacting and pivoting. We've all found ourselves in a position where we have to pivot. Have you ever driven down the road, and back in the day we used to use the TomTom, right? The GPS. Now you could just put it on your phone, put Google Maps, and you're good to go. But the interesting thing is that if you put on your Google Maps and you going down the road, you're driving towards your destination, if you miss your turn, it'll tell you recalculate. You see, it has a destination already in place. You've already submitted the coordinates of where it needs to be. So even though you missed the right turn or the left turn, or you turned when you shouldn't have because for whatever reason, maybe you were distracted, involved in conversation, or whatever the case was, that you took the wrong turn or missed it, but the system understands, nope, there's a destination where we need to be, we need to recalculate. And it may take another 10 minutes to get to where we need to get to, but you know what? We're going to get there. That's the idea of pivoting, where you recalculate. Notice that if you miss your turn or something happens where you are derailed from the route that you're on, notice that your navigation system doesn't say to you, hey, you got to start back from the beginning. It doesn't do that. It simply says recalculating from where you are. From where you are. So often we find ourselves in a position where we say, I'm not hitting the target yet. I'm not where I want to be. I'm not doing the things I want to do. Right? We said at the top of this conversation that today is day 40 of 365. It may not feel like it, but that's what today is. So what happens is that maybe you're analyzing and you're saying, gee, I'm not exactly where I want to be. I thought I would be further ahead of my goals. I thought I would be further ahead in this endeavor. I thought I would be in another position. I thought I would have lost more weight by now. I thought I would have written more articles by now. I thought I would have written or read more books. I thought I would have done X, Y, Z, right? Fill in the blank. And oftentimes when we realize, man, I've not been focused, or I've procrastinated, or I've had the fear to pull the trigger and actually make the decision. But when we realize that that's taken place, oftentimes we think we've got to start back from zero. Like we've got to go all the way back to the starting line. And that don't work that way. Situation would it work that way? I think about if you're in a race, if you're in a race and you stumble on the track, they're not going to tell you, hey, go back to the beginning so you can start again. They're going to say, pick up from where you are and keep going. If you're playing a sport, tennis, hockey, golf, you name it, and something happens where you stumble and fall, they're going to say, get up, keep moving forward from up, keep at the attack, get up. And so often we think, oops, I fell, I stumbled, I'm not seeing the result I want to see. I guess I better get to the back of the line, start from the beginning all over again. That's not it. You just simply have to get up. You just simply have to determine to yourself, I'm going to keep moving forward. But I am of the thought, I submit to you that it is possible that most often we think we have to start back from the beginning because we are not clear on our destination. I submit to you the idea that it is possible that most often when we stumble along the way, when we face giants and dragons, work out the way I thought it was going to work out, even though everything around us is saying recalculate, we say back from the starting line. And I think it's because we are very unclear on what our destination truly is. Furthermore, I think we're also unclear on our core values. Because how can you head north if you don't have core values? You see, your core value compass, and they remind you the direction that you're going. Your core values let you know this is where you're headed. So, for example, if one of your core values is family, and at your job there's this opportunity of working overnight and early mornings and afternoons, and you can 4 hours a day and make all the money in the world. Well, would it be beneficial to do that and break your value? Like, how serious is this a value to you? And oftentimes, we violate our values. We break our values. Another way to describe your core values is your non negotiables. So, if these are your negotiables, oftentimes what happens is that we violate them, we break them, we negotiate, and then we want to justify. Well, I got to take this because it's for my family. Well, I got to take this because it's for the thing that I want to do. It's for this project. It's for this. It's for that. And we just begin to justify why we are breaking, why we are violating our core values, why we are violating our non-negotiables. And just like a compass has north, east, south, and west, so too, I always recommend establishing at the very least 4 core values, because these serve as a compass. And an opportunity comes your way and you ask yourself, okay, this is a good opportunity, quite possibly, but does it match with my core value? That's how you know if you're in the right direction. Does it match with my core values? No, then I'm not willing to actually violate my core values. Now, here's the thing. It may be possible that this opportunity comes up and you are very much in to take the opportunity, and you look at your core values and say, no, it doesn't align, but I really want the opportunity. This is a moment where I would recommend reevaluate your core values, because what happens is that oftentimes we do not reevaluate our core values, and we determine what our core values are. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years go by, and we say, these are my values. I've always known my values. Yeah, but are they still your values? Is it still the priority in your life? Is it still the non-negotiable? Like maybe 10 years ago, you were like, I have to go to the beach every single day. And now you're like, I can do without nature. It's not a core value of mine. It's not a non-negotiable of mine. I can do without it. Well, how will you know if you don't actually sit down and analyze? How will you know if you don't actually consider what you're doing? Like, when was the last time you wrote out your daily tasks or your habits? When was the last time you took time to actually write that out and say, okay, there's something here that isn't squaring, that isn't actually showing what I wanted to show? The casinos don't lose a lot of money. And the reason casinos don't lose a lot of money is because they know how to keep record. They keep record of every winner, every loser, every hand. They've got cameras everywhere. They've got security everywhere. It's like, why do they have that? And it's like, well, because they want to protect their investment, because they want to ensure that everything is traceable, everything is legible. Like, they want to make sure that it's clear as day what's happening. And we've got to get that serious about what we do on a daily. And if what you're doing on a daily does not coincide with your core values, then it could be day 40, day 50, day 100, day 200, day 365. It can be a leap year and be day 366. But if you don't get clear on what your values are, you'll continue to navigate and never obtain the destination that you want to obtain. So it's important to get very clear on where it is that you want to go. Because challenges are going to come. We know this. We know challenges are going to come. But when they come, you are able to manage those challenges. You're able to pivot. You're able to see a solution even when you don't feel like there is one. That's what thinking strategically is. And as a personal growth strategist, that's what I do. I help individuals think strategically. How many times have you established a goal and found yourself not accomplishing that goal? Well, what I do is that I help individuals accomplish their goals with strategies. You may be 1 or 2 steps away from your breakthrough moment, and you don't even know it because you haven't gotten clear on what your habits are, on what your values are, and on the strategy that you're using. And if you're not clear on what your values are, you're definitely not going to be able to navigate through the difficulties that may come. You simply continue to react and quite possibly react outside of character. You just react abruptly, and people will ask themselves, what's happening here? That's not like them. Well, check their values. Check the values. Because your values says a lot about you. I'm so excited for everyone who is connected here right now on the Wisdom application. It's day 40 of 365. How are you doing with your goals? Go ahead and tap that button, become a guest. Tell me, how are you doing today with your goals? Are you on track with your goals? Do you feel like you may be off on certain points? Do you feel like you have the right strategy? Do you feel like you have the right mindset? How about the people around you? Do you feel like you have the right people around you? Or do you feel like I need better people? It's good to actually think about these things and think about how these things make you feel. Because oftentimes we talk about the naysayers and the haters, and you'll rarely hear me talk about the naysayers and the haters because I don't think that's where our focus should be. I think we pay too much attention to the haters and the naysayers, and we need to pay more attention to the work we're attempting to do. It's day 40 of 365. And if you feel stuck, I want to encourage you to head over to miguellebron.com. There, not only can you set up a free 30-minute strategy session, but you can also click on the core values tab and you can review core values. Select a few that you may think best suit you. And then there's also an article there that I've written that you'll have access to, which addresses the possibility that our values could change. And if they change, what type of effect does that have on the goals we set and the life we live? I'm super excited for how the year is coming through and the things that are happening. I'm happy that I could connect with you all here on the Wisdom application and for everyone who's listening on the Strategy Rewind podcast. As we continue to navigate this year, understand that you are not alone. So if at any point you stumble, send me a DM and let's work together. Remember to get back up. And in the words of Rocky Balboa, keep on punching. It's important that you surround yourself with people that will nourish your vision. And keep in mind, we've been to the moon. So aim higher.